Alright, so if you follow me on Twitter, you'll notice that lately I wouldn't shut the fuck up about Battle Angel Alita. I kinda read it on a whim. I'll admit hearing about its movie made me aware of the series, but since it's a Hollywood thing, I thought it would probably be a better bet to read the source material, and boy do I not regret that. Today I want to discuss what makes this manga such a fascinating and entertaining experience all the way through. Now, this definitely is not the best series I've seen, but there's this combination of factors in the way it's presented and written that make it super interesting. Also, don't worry, for those who haven't seen the series yet, I will not be spoiling specific plot details or elements, so it's safe to see the video if you're unfamiliar with the series. The first thing I love about this series is that it's unrestricted by genre. Now, sites like My Anime List and AniList categorize this series as sci-fi and psychological, but this series can be fit into so many different genre categorizations by virtue of how broad the scope is. At its core, the official categorizations are true. This series has a deep connection with all things technological, both real and hyperfictional. There are also constant musings about what constitutes the self, what makes someone or something human, how much we should be sacrificing in exchange for security, and what kind of things we're capable of doing to others in the name of prosperity. Think of it like a sort of Psycho-Pass before Psycho-Pass. However, this series is capable of turning the dial and becoming a straight-up battle shonen, concerning itself with power levels and scales, elaborate styles and techniques, and hyperfictional duels. Then it can turn the dial once more to be a geopolitical drama with planetary governments squabbling for control. There are even phases where it turns into a sports series, with an entire arc dedicated to Alita climbing the ranks of a fictional contact sport called motorball. There was also a brief segment where the series straight up looked like Kaiji, with some fucked up gambles going on. There was also a long tournament arc in the spirit of many a battle shonen. The current series that is ongoing is largely a flashback arc dealing with the origins of two essential characters, relying heavily on survival themes up to the current point. This series keeps on refreshing itself. It's constantly mixing things up, adding to the overall appeal of the series' world by consistently putting the characters in new and unique situations that keeps the readers interested. Speaking of the series' world, it is so multi-layered and there's so much going on in it. Although of course everything has major fictional elements put into it, stuff that current society can only dream of achieving, like advanced space travel, singularity with AI, resurrection from death itself. Yet despite that, the world feels so real with how it's presented. That brings me to my next point. Within the madness mentioned before in the main story, there are various world-building elements that I couldn't help but be interested by. You got the events that led to humanity expanding out of Earth, the new planetary superpowers forming in the wake of that expansion, and their civil and proxy wars against each other on Mars. The tense social dynamics of the people of the Earth's surface in relation to the people above, and in its orbit, in the cities of Tifares and Cathares. New cultural phenomenon such as motorball, radio chaos, and a frequent Zenith of Things martial arts tournament that can be compared to today's World Cup in the large scale and importance to nearly everyone who inhabits the colonized planets, as well as the allocation and utilization of new resources. For me, a series' world does not have to be realistic or super true to life to be interesting. All there really needs to be for me is for care to be taken in its creation, by adding many layers to a world and incorporating them into the story in smooth and non-intrusive ways. That way an author or mangaka can create a world that the viewer can get invested in, regardless of its authenticity relative to actual society. Finally, the journey of Alita herself throughout the story up to this point has been written in a way that makes one feel like they are truly watching Alita become a more well-rounded and mature person, in a way that is somewhat realistic to real life. If that makes any sense, let me explain. Now, nobody can relate to being a resurrected cyborg with mega strength, interacting with omniscient and all-powerful AI on the regular, but those ultra-fictional elements of Alita's story don't take away how Yuki Tokushiro has made Alita grow in a realistic fashion, even among those unrelatable superpower elements. It can be observed in Alita's general attitude. From an innocent and aloof little girl rescued from death by Dr. Ito, she grows, learns lessons, builds connections, falls in and out of love, tries many new things, has identity crises, contends with her morality, ferments a personal ideology, and grows in confidence and experience. Much like a real person going from childhood to adolescence to adulthood, Alita is seldom completely the same as she grows older. Now, this might turn some viewers away because we're used to our characters having recognizable and well-defined characteristics and behavioral patterns. But I think that's what makes Alita such an interesting main character. She lacks a total definition as a person. Alita grows and adapts to the world around her. Alita doesn't have to have a grand goal or a definitive moral code. Her goals, desires, and motivations change as she grows older and the world changes around her. I can't really do justice to how good the character writing is for Alita, so I recommend just reading it yourself to really grasp what I'm saying. Well, that's my 2 cents on Battle Angel Alita. If you're a fellow fan like me, I hope I did the series justice with this short video. If you're unfamiliar or have not seen the series, I hope you'll be inspired to check it out. I definitely recommend it. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Thank you everyone for your patience during my lack of uploads in April. Take care everyone, and have a great day.